out to other people. So I'm Tabitha Burkett. I'm just a concerned citizen these days. I don't wear any special titles, but this was something that was near and dear to my heart. We all kind of got together just independently and tried to get this together so we could have a nice town hall meeting. Tonight we're going to run a couple of things. I'll introduce you. We're going to turn it over to Stephen Mayfield. He is our city manager for the City of Stockdale, and he'll be assisted by Lori, Dawn, and Missouri. And so they're going to kind of talk over here because we're all in agreement. We don't have to have any hostility going on. But we brought in Mr. John Hall, and so I'd like to introduce him as the new city manager for Stockdale. Marshall. He's the manager. He's the marshal.
Does that come with a pay raise?
Yeah. And,
if you don't need me, I'm going to go home.
Yeah. So he's going to just be here in case we have any problems. And so Mr. Dela Cruz is here, and he's got a few things he wants to say to you first. When we get done with this portion of us kind of talking, well, we're going to open up a question and answer time at that point. By then, I think you're going to have your questions ready. We're running it like a city council meeting. So you have up to 3 minutes, and we can only take 30 minutes total. So you're going to have to kind of say what you need to say and get the questions asked. So please pay attention when others are asking questions, because I promise you the majority of our questions are the same questions. So we don't need them repeated 10 times. We need people to get up and come up with some other ideas. It's just one of those things, or we'll be here till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I have to work tomorrow, y'all. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dela Cruz so he can kind of talk to you about why he's here.
Well, thank you. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I know everybody's here with the concern of water here in Wilson County. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Carlos Dela Cruz. I am running for Congress, and the reason is because I'm not done fighting for my country. I'll tell you, before my wife and I built a small business here in San Antonio, in Bexar County, I spent 20 years in the United States Air Force, and I deployed to hostile zones after 9/11. And I've deployed down to our southern border to work side by side our U.S. Customs agents. Now, I think I know better than anyone else in this race right now the challenges that we are facing abroad and the dangers that we have right here at our doorstep. But what really keeps me up at night is the challenges that our kids are facing in our country today. They're being taught to hate our country. They're being torn away from institutions that give life meaning, such as faith in God, family, and community. Now, I want to fight alongside our president, President Trump, and give our kids the country that they deserve and protect children. And that is why I'm running for Congress, and I hope that you guys and girls will join me in that effort. And that's all for me.
Let Lori, Dawn, and Stephen take over from here. If we can get you directed towards the PowerPoint, there's some great information that they put together. If y'all need more chairs, there's some over there in that corner.
So this graph is actually one of our wells in the city of Stockdale. It's used as a monitoring well, so it gets a lot of data on the water depth of the aquifer underneath Stockdale. This is in the Carrizo Wilcox aquifer. As you can see, the dramatic drop there since 2003. 2003 signals when SSLDC started pumping just 13 miles away over close to Nixon. Since then, you can see a dramatic drop. Overall, there's been a dramatic drop since the well was first put in, but you can see that there's a much larger drop since that 2003 when another entity started pumping from the same groundwater. So that's just kind of some data that's real true data showing how much the aquifer has dropped. So.
Scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
And that's Not just, if you look at all the data around, it's traditional throughout the Carrizo, Wilcox in this area. It's, I always use the, you know, if you and your friends sit down and have a big punch bowl margarita and you have a couple straws in there, everything's real good. But then if you have 10 friends come in and they start throwing the straws in there too, your margarita doesn't last too long. So that's kind of where, unfortunately, we've gotten with the aquifer. We're putting too many straws in there and we're just over depleting it.
So basically, this is the website for Evergreen, and I liked that they said safeguarding groundwater resources for the Evergreen UWCD to protect and conserve the groundwater resources of our county. And their mission very clearly says efforts are for conservation, preservation, and protection of our groundwater. Wilson County Commissioners all agreed that they do not want to support this permit. This is not about one well. County resident Cody Little, who's here, told commissioners this is a gateway well to ship our water out of our county. And Scott Aiken, he said, I'm not happy, and the people I represent are not happy. Corpus Christi's water crisis. Their water supplies could run out by November 2026. I don't think we want to be in that position. Beeville's water crisis. They declared a local disaster due to critically low water levels. Their water sources are driving up, proving that South Texas communities are already at the breaking point. There is an AI data center coming in that can use 2+ million gallons a day from Wilson County. Guadalupe County protected their water. They proved it can be done. They had a golf course that they wanted to go in, and their board unanimously denied a groundwater permit after landowners spoke up. The community can make a difference. If we all stand up, it matters. Even East Texas said no. There was another groundwater district, halted a massive export plan in Dallas. The company wanted to pump billions of gallons of water from East Texas. The locals sued and the permits were voided. The district paused new wells until independent studies were done. So they paused everything until they could evaluate what their water situation was. They stood together, and we can too. Evergreen has the power and the responsibility under Texas law to protect local groundwater resources. Texas Water Code 36.113D, the district must consider whether a proposed permit would unreasonably affect existing groundwater and wells and may deny or condition a permit accordingly. Texas Water Code 36.1132, the district must ensure that all permitted pumping is consistent with sustainable groundwater management and with the district's adopted desired future conditions for the aquifer. There's aquifer stress data. According to publicly available Evergreen, UWCD, and Texas Water Development Board data, water levels in Wilson County's Carrizo-Wilcox aquifer have shown long-term decline with limited recovery following drought periods, which of course we are in. Remember this graph that Stephen talked about? It doesn't look good. Now, Stephen, can you talk about this? This is Springs Hill.
So this is directly from TCEQ Drinking Water Watch for Springs Hill. As you can see there, their maximum daily demand currently is listed at 4.95 million gallons. That's drinking water, that's water for fighting fires, for emergencies, things like that. Provided for production capacity, they're allocated right now currently 8.376 million gallons, nearly twice what they maximum pumping would be. So if you look at their pump capacity, they could pump up to just over 5 million gallons with the pumps they currently have. But if you look at their average daily use, it's only just over 2.4 million gallons a day. So going off of this data, they're only using 2.4 million gallons a day. They already have allocated from other sources 8.376 million gallons. Any water that they're out looking for right now is for future growth and future endeavors. That's what they're coming for water. They're not drying up. They're not having to, ration water like, some of the South Texas, Corpus Christi, Beeville, Mathis areas are doing. They have plenty of water. They're just looking to secure water for the future and what they want to grow out.
And
And
they
Stephen,
wholesale.
can you please tell, are you allowed to, when you're putting in your water numbers, are you allowed to project growth?
No,
No.
I can only go off the taps that I've.
It has to be where they're at the moment.
And Springs Hill also wholesales water to other. So my request, and I think if y'all want to agree with this, we want to hold on this permit until these questions are answered. Has an environmental study been done and who did it? We want someone appointed by Evergreen to do the study, not Springs Hill. How much water are we talking about on an annual basis, and who are the recipients of the sale of this water? What is the logic behind it other than someone making money? What are the Evergreen rules for reselling water? Are there rules that govern this kind of transaction? I think those are fair questions to have. Our goal here with everybody is to attend the public hearing on November 21st at 9 a.m. and have your voices heard. Once that water is gone, it's gone. Under Texas rule of capture, there's no second chances. That's why we must speak up now. There's going to be papers over here if you want to send a protest letter, comment letter, and Tabitha will speak on that afterwards.
I think now it's
So-
public.
So I was going to go into, to speak at the meeting at the Evergreen, you will, if you may correct me if I'm wrong, have to have a permanent well, correct?
Can you repeat the question?
To speak at the meeting, they are going to have, they have to have a permanent well, but they don't have to. Okay.
No, anybody can speak. Like your meetings, they'll be limited. I don't know, is it 3 minutes? They'll be limited on time, like any normal meeting. But anybody can speak. I think your question is whether they can, to request a contested case hearing, which is an administrative trial, usually conducted by the state, is you have to be, and this is by law, this is not it's not the groundwater district's just rules, it's statute, is they have to be an affected person. They have to have a justiciable interest, which means that their interest, their water rights, they're somehow affected. They don't have to have wells, but they have to have water rights, something that's different than the general public.
Let me interject something. For those of you who don't know, that lawyerly talk you just heard, this is Monique Norman. She is the general counsel for the Evergreen Groundwater District. So she comes to all of our board meetings. Next to me is Aaron Teague. Dr. Teague is our general manager of the Evergreen Groundwater Conservation District. And my name is Daryl Brownlow. I'm the president of the board of the Evergreen Groundwater Conservation District. I'm also a Wilson County resident for a long, long time. And so we'll make ourselves available for questioning. But I just wanted to interject because there's a lot to be said with regards to contested case hearing, who can speak and some of that stuff. So as the questions come up, feel free to engage us.
So I think Mr. Dela Cruz spoke, and the next one I have is Diane Hartman.
I thought it was to sign on.
Oh, so just sign in. Okay, Dana, did you, no, is this a sign-in sheet? Leon?
No
Welcome.
questions, I need more information.
You need more information, okay. Is it Tom? Is that Tom or Tim? Tim? What's the last name? So who wants to talk? Yeah, raise your hand. Let's start right here. If you want to stand up and ask some questions,
Okay.
they're going to be able to answer you more. We're just kind of here to run the.
Hey y'all, okay.
Will you introduce yourself?
My name's Tim Bolonic and I live here in Stockdale. Long story short, when a body of water is condemned, okay, it takes 50 years before it's reneutralized. There's talk for it. Where I'm from, in Houston, they still have 30 years before they can use their groundwater. So in other words, when it's sold for profit, it's bad things when things happen when it's sold for profit. So it's not a good thing to let this happen. Long story short.
Okay. Ms. Love, I think you were the next one.
I have a question to ask.
No, that's what this is for.
Carol and
Sure.
Dr. Pugh. You explained the process and the three methods of contesting the case, and somehow I missed the middle one. Can you explain that?
Okay, so when we went through in our board meeting, so for a contested case hearing, what I believe that you were referring to is that the board has three options for how that hearing is conducted. The board can conduct it. They can appoint an independent examiner, or it can be referred to the State Office of Administrative Hearings. Is
And
that
who would the examiner be, independent examiner, if you decided to do it that way?
Typically, we hire, it will always be a lawyer, typically someone that has extensive experience being
You all will be
an administrative law
responsible
judge.
for hiring.
Well, typically what happens is, it doesn't have to, but typically, in my experience, I've been representing groundwater districts across the state for over 25 years, is the statute says that if one of the parties, whether it be the applicant or one of the contested case, asks that it goes to the state Office of Administrative Hearing, then it has to go there. And then they have to pay for the fees related to that
Who
judge.
pays for the fees?
Whoever asked for it to go to SOA.
So are you concerned about Evergreen being sued if the directors are the ones who make the decision?
Well, I think you got to recognize right off the bat, if there's an entity, either side, the applicant or the protestants, the people against it, if they request a contested case hearing, then we will send it to the State Office of Administrative Hearings.
So the middle option is not.
The middle option is really not,
It's not.
I can tell you it's probably not going to happen. So it will go to the State Office of Administrative Hearing if the applicant requested, or the protestant requested.
Then at that point, it goes to them. It is a fair and impartial state administrative law judge that does it. And then it's conducted like a trial, discovery, all those things, like a normal trial. That administrative law judge then writes their judgment. It's a recommendation to the board. The board makes the final decision.
That's correct. So ultimately, once that administrative hearing occurs, and it's like a trial, you have a plaintiff, you have a defendant, in this case, it's a protestant and an applicant. In this case, if Stockdale and entities here were protesting this permit, they requested, or they were part of this process, obviously, they would be the protestant because they're protesting the permit. Spring Hill would be the applicant.
Would they be obligated to pay for their attorney?
Well, absolutely.
Well, everybody has to pay
Everybody
for
has
their
to pay.
attorneys.
I mean, this is not
We
a,
pay for the district will pay for theirs.
That puts the citizens of this county in the position of paying for an attorney when they already have one.
well, not just an attorney, but if you're going to defend yourself in a contested case hearing, you have to defend it against the science that the other side is
So you're
presenting as
talking about a
well.
lot of money.
It's not an easy process, unfortunately. It's happening all over the state right now. I mean, we're just one of 99 groundwater
You all
districts.
could make the decision, and they would have to, at that point.
We won't have a choice.
So in that scenario, even if the board would say from the get-go that they deny it, you still end up at SOA doing a trial with them, because their recommendation would be to deny it, so they still have the opportunity to request that it go to SOA.
And
That's right.
if in fact we were to win it, we have no recourse against Springs Hill?
What do you mean? If
No,
you won the hearing?
Yeah.
So if the protestants won the hearing, Springs Hill would have an opportunity. Well, you don't really win the hearing. You have a favorable decision from the judges, this panel of judges, the office of those hearing judges.
Any recourse that we would
Well,
have against?
yes, there is actually. In plain speak, the Office of Administrative Hearing, the judges would hear the case. Several months later, likely, they would render a decision, a proposal for a decision. That would come back to the Evergreen Board. At that point, the Evergreen Board has a decision to make. Do we accept the hearing examiners, or do we overrule the hearing examiners? Or do we accept it, or do we, we have, the ultimate decision falls with the Board of Directors. So we can accept the hearing examiner's recommendation in that proposal for decision, or, we can deny it. Now, if we deny it, the applicant has the right to contest it again through a process called judicial review. And so that process then continues. And so if the hearing examiners decided in a state hearing that the protestant had the preponderance of evidence in their favor, one, it's likely the Evergreen Board would agree to the findings of the administrative hearing. But until that data comes out, until there's a decision rendered, and the other side, the applicant has the right, or the losing party has the right to request judicial review as to something might have gone wrong in the trial or something was misrepresented or whatever. So bottom line, it's a long, nasty, ugly process,
And
unfortunately.
in the meantime-
But it's a fair process.
In the meantime, are they able to continue with what they were gonna do?
No.
No,
They don't get to drill the wells
Even
until
the-
the final decision. And let me back up a little bit. I love the interest, because this district is one of the oldest in the state, have meetings every month, typically the last Friday every month, and have very little interest in what we do. And so I really, really, really appreciate the interest and the education, because it is important, and it will get more and more important as the state grows, population grows, they need water, and so I really appreciate the interest and the opportunity to educate you. And I just want to quickly say that we have to go by for the most part, one chapter of the water code statutes, and they give us a toolbox. Here's the things you can do to adopt rules that are appropriate for the science in your district, and then you adopt those rules. We adopt those rules when we don't have any applicant in front of us, and then we're looking at the water, we're looking at models, we're looking at all those things, and what's appropriate. The rules for a long time for this district, and still are for the most part, it's a maximum of 2 acre-feet per acre, or at least in the Creek and Wilcox aquifer, 2 acre-feet per acre. So it's acknowledging those property rights of 2 acre-feet per acre is the max. And then there's spacing rules that you have to be from property lines and from other wells. And then there's a whole list of things that we require to be admin complete for those permits. And then there's operating permit, and then there's transport permits. So they're applying for both at the same time, for the one well operating permit, and then the transport permit to transport it out of the district. And so we have we have been working with them for a year
Since last December.
to get to ranking them over to making sure they're meeting all these requirements. And no, it's not admin complete. No, you need this. No, you need that. She was just doing a well visit, a site visit. I mean, we're still looking at all these things. We look at the property rights which is very complicated in this area, because everything's so many oil and gas leases and all the different deeds, to make sure they have the water rights and what they're doing. We're trying to constantly check. We're checking. They're required to do a engineer or a PG sealed hydrogeology report that they submit to us. Then we do have our own that review it. I mean, we are going through that. We are not making a recommendation at this time. We are listening to you. We're not fighting for them. We're not fighting against the applicant. We are saying, do they meet our rules? And here's the science. And that's the stage we're at right now.
Do you consider their application complete?
It is not.
We have some issues. We still have some issues.
Can I ask a question, Daryl?
Sure.
You know, all of us here have land in
Sure.
Wilson County. I think most of us do.
I certainly
But
do,
most
yeah.
of us can't open our checkbook because we don't have that hidden oil well or whatever
Sure.
to pay for a contested hearing. But we all pay taxes, lots of taxes. So who should we demand help us in the county put together a contested hearing, one? And two, whoever's looking at these data centers needs to get their ass to Wyoming, because 15 years ago, I was working in Wyoming when Meta, which was then Apple, started building these data centers. And they absolutely ruined hundreds of thousands of ranch land in eastern Wyoming, where there is no water left. And all of these data centers said, oh, we're going to do recycling. And then what did they find? That once they ran that water through the chiller, it's just like using water in in a power plant, the calcium comes out and you
Yeah.
can't use it a second and third time. So recycling is a lie.
Let me give you some perspective, what the Evergreen is. For those of you who don't know, the Evergreen District is 4 counties, Wilson, Karnes, Atascosa, and Frio County. We're one of 99 groundwater districts in the state of Texas. So there's 99 other statutory form controlling interests. Our rules really are going back to the origination of the district was tied around irrigation, farming. And there were permit rules for 2 acre-feet per acre of land that you had. So if you had 100 acres, you could apply for 200 acre-feet of water. An acre-foot of water is 325,000 gallons. You're familiar with those terms. You know, that was great, and they estimated they utilized 2 acre-feet per acre of land because that's how much water you needed to put on peanuts in a dry year. So to grow peanuts, you need 2 feet of water, 24 inches of rain. So the pumping wells were basically to replace the lack of rainfall and allow you to continue farming. The Evergreen started off as really a bunch of peanut farmers who got together in the 60s and came up with this rule to really kind of protect each other. Move forward 50 plus years. We've got over 1 million acre feet of water permitted in the Evergreen District. 1 million acre feet. This little permit is for 5 MGD or so, Spring Hill. We've got 890 million gallons a day permitted. Now let me back up. Over 1 million acre feet equates to about 890 million gallons a day. That sounds like enormous numbers. But the reality is the vast majority of that is irrigation permits. Vast majority is irrigation permits. We only utilize about 20% of that. Meaning the people that have those permits here in the district, they get that, they get a large amount, but they use very little of it, roughly 20% of it. So we manage actively about 200,000, 150 to 200,000 acre feet of water a year between the 4 counties. How much does Wilson County use? Wilson County uses about between 25 and 30,000 acre feet. So roughly about 15% of the total water the Evergreen District manages is in Wilson County. Now would you believe the Evergreen District, Wilson County and the Evergreen District probably uses less water today than we used in 1980.
Then why is my well dropping and I've had to hire somebody to come out and lower my pump?
We use less water today because the municipalities, we don't have near the irrigation. We used to only have a relatively small amount of municipal and rural and domestic use. Well, that's flipped. So we're not irrigating anywhere near we were back in the 1980s, but we've replaced it with municipal and domestic and rural and a greater distribution of pumpage. So there are water level declines. I've lost, in my Carrizo wells on FM 775, I've lost 10 to 12 feet of water level in the last 13 years. I monitor it monthly. And that's pretty significant because I'm in the outcrop. So we've got a big task in front of us, but look at the perspective. This district is managing about 8,000 water wells that we have permitted. We have over 8,000 water wells we're permitted. We're developing monitoring well programs like to understand what's happening to the water levels in the district. And they can influence our rules, and they are influencing our rules. We have undertaken, it was funny, I saw the Evergreen website up here. If you'd have gone to the Evergreen website 2 years ago, there was a snow-capped mountain in Colorado on the front cover. You know, we have rebuilt the Evergreen District in many ways. We've created this massive water monitoring network that is going to increase threefold over the course of the next year or two. We need that data. We have this immense problem of getting people to register their wells. You know, there's 500 or 600 water wells within 5 miles of Stockdale. And how many wells are registered?
Maybe about 25%.
Maybe 20 to 25%. People aren't registering their wells. We know they exist, but the rules of the Evergreen require you to register your wells. That's a rule. That is legally, you have to do that according to the rules of the Evergreen District. We tax, we're a taxing district. Our budget's about $1 million a year. More than half of it comes from Karnes County, thankfully, because they're mineral interest. We're an ad valorem taxing. Everybody that pays property taxes, you see a little line item for Evergreen. It's a relatively small amount. It's about a quarter of what we used to pay, what we pay the San Antonio River Authority, which I'm not happy about. And that's another issue.
But back to the
But
question.
back to the question.
Who can we look to
Okay.
help us since we paid these taxes, including to you now that you
We,
mentioned
the
it?
Evergreen,
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
So also you have to remember, the Evergreen is only over the water that is underneath it. There's other water districts out there, and when I was talking earlier about the Carrizo is a very large aquifer. What we do here affects everybody kind of downstream, but what's affecting us here is what we do here, plus what people do upstream in the
well, that's right. And without going into, we have presentations after presentations to get into the deep mechanics of how this works. But to answer your question, who's going to pay for the protestants' applicant fight, the state, the contested case hearing? The applicant will pay for it. Excuse me, the protestant will pay for it. You will pay for it. You will have to generate the necessary funds.
Shouldn't even go that far.
Huh?
It shouldn't even go that far. I'm
That
sorry.
may be, but we have this thing called Chapter 36 and rules and laws.
I get it, but I hear a lot of dancing around. You guys are dancing in circles. My name is Cody Little. So what it comes down to is you are here to protect the interest of this county. We're not talking about any other county. I don't care what other counties. You're not in those counties right now. You're in Wilson County.
Sure.
You're here to protect us. You're profiting off of those permits.
We do not make a profit. That is a total mischaracterization of
So-
this statement. That's wrong.
So the permitting
And I'll
process.
explain the financing to you if you'd
The
like.
permitting process, the yearly renewal of your well permit or the 5-year, whatever you guys have, that doesn't go to Evergreen?
It does. It
does,
pays
okay,
for our
that-
services.
Yes.
It pays for our
So
services.
people are profiting off it.
There's no profit in it. We're
Do
a
you get
government
paid?
entity. It's
Do
no
you get
different from
paid?
the city manager,
Do you get
the
paid?
city of
Their
Stockdale.
Do you
money
get paid?
does come from that.
Do what?
Are you paid by Evergreen?
I'm paid $100 a board meeting once a
Okay.
month.
So, well.
You know, I've attended 500 board meetings in the last 40 years dealing with water issues
But
related to
here's
this.
the thing, you talk about these people
Without a
that
dime.
have to come out and pay millions of dollars to fight your guys' lawyers and the permitting lawyers, but it shouldn't even go that far. With, we already know about other permits that are coming down the pipeline, other people buying up water rights in the northern part of Wilson County, Cibolo Valley. They're about ready to start probably pulling a permit with you guys. When is enough enough? When are you guys gonna step up and say, you know what? Why should Wilson County, why should we all have to get together?
So are you
and-
suggesting we deny all permits?
Yeah.
From everybody?
Transport.
No more permits. Anybody with, no,
Transport.
we can't. We
Yes, you
can't
can.
deny a permit based on.
You just told
It's the state
everyone
law.
here, you're the man.
It's the state
Your board is
law.
the man.
So,
You
hang
guys
on.
come
We have
back,
to go through a
everything comes back
process.
to you.
Have
You
you denied it?
at a state
Slow
level.
down.
Hang on.
Slow down. You want to be accusatory, let's ask a question.
I'm not being accusatory, you just said, whatever happens at a state level, you guys have the power to say, nah, we don't agree with
You
that.
know
We're
what?
gonna go ahead
You
and
had
give
a
you the
question.
permit.
Yeah,
You
Steve,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
interject.
So.
Yeah, you're gonna shut
I think
me
a
off
lot
and
of
ask
it,
the question to people.
I think a lot of where he's coming from, the pay, remember, like he said, they are a taxing entity, just like the city.
Okay, we can skip over that.
You know.
We can skip over that part. It's the part of, why would we all have to get together and file a class action lawsuit and all come out of money to stop them?
Well,
But in the end.
Because we haven't
they say your
adjudicated,
voice
it
don't
has to be
matter.
adjudicated.
Because-
There's no way we can prejudge the situation,
because they
otherwise
say
we
your voice
can.
doesn't matter on a daily basis. If you don't have a registered well, your voice don't matter.
Well,
But that's not necessarily
I will
true.
say-
But you
But
guys use it.
it's very important. It's very important, because then you have standing. Go ahead.
I understand, I very much understand your frustration. We have to follow the law.
You guys are the law. You just said that if a court denies it and says that, yeah, you should stop, you guys could come back and say, no, we're gonna move forward, you have the ultimate decision. Don't use and hide behind the law when he just told everyone in the room, the board has the ultimate say-so.
Subject to the
See,
rule
and
of
you're
law and
bringing-
I
subject
can
to
show you I'm happy to show you the law that says that we have to look at the effect of the well. We have to look at what's the effect, and that's what we do.
Well, then I'm
You're
saying-
not allowed by law to look at
All right,
where
I'm
it
gonna let
is
this
used.
gentleman ask a question
Sure.
real quick.
There are rules they have to abide by. There are state rules that are put in place, and they have to abide by them. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You can't
You
just go
can't
ahead and
just-
inject
We
water.
can't.
So
We have to be
my,
fair to
my
everybody.
question, like you said, should we deny every permit? Should we deny every permit? And we say yes. If you're gonna drill a water well, if you're drilling a water well because you're gonna irrigate your crops out here, you're gonna to grow your grass, to feed your cattle, whatever you're doing, because we are a very highly agricultural area. So what we're making up with the lack of population, we make up for the stuff that we're feeding the counties
Absolutely.
around us. We're feeding those already, providing services for that stuff. So my question is yes, I mean, my thing is yes, deny those unless the water is staying in Wilson County. Why do we have to send it outside of Wilson County? That's the question.
So I think I've got to, can we answer that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
When we look at it, I understand the frustration.
Yeah.
I understand the frustration with us and with the legislature because they're the ones that write the law. The law says in chapter 36.113 of the Texas Water Code that we grant those regardless of type or location of use. We're not allowed to, by law, discriminate on how it's being used or where it's being used. And
Aren't
that's
you
what
allowed to
legislature-
say the impact of the
We
area?
can, that's what we
That's
look
part of the
at.
adjudication.
That's what we look
That's part of
at,
the.
but we're
My other
looking
question
at,
is-
but we're allowed to look at what's happening below the ground, not above the ground.
No,
Does that
and
make
that's
sense?
fine, but what's going on below the ground is affecting
That's
above the ground,
No, no,
because when your water table drops, it creates
I'm agreeing with
yeah,
you
drought.
that that's what we look at,
Yes.
and that's what the protest will be for,
so my
is what's
question-
happening to those drawdowns.
When we get, when Meta or whoever's doing the AI submitted their 2.2 million gallons a day, and then the other group did their 3.5 million gallons a day for Spring Hills water, they were put in simultaneously. So neither one of their modeling showed the usage of the other. And how if I'm gonna give you an impact survey of how hard I punched somebody, like I punched something and tell you, I'm gonna tell you I didn't hit, it's not gonna hit that hard, and the other person's going, it hurt like hell, and so we're going back and forth, they're paying for what you're seeing.
So
Are you doing independent studies?
So real quick on this, we have two separate issues.
Yes.
We have a public water supply well for Springs Hill. And then we have a concern about this data
Data
AI
center.
center. So let's separate out the two
Okay.
issues. With the data AI, I know that there's a lot of concern and a lot of things that are running around. But let's go ahead and just take the bull by the horns and answer those questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With the Data AI Center, we have not received a permit application from Meta or Misai that.
Those are the companies that are running this
Yes.
AI.
Or for any AI?
For anyone who has declared their uses for AI. Now, based on several of y'all's questions, and y'all come and talk to us, and we very much appreciate that, we've had specific questions about a specific piece of property. That piece of property was permitted about a little over a year ago for agricultural use. And then the property was sold, and then the new owners requested a change of use to industrial. So the original permits were for agriculture, and then they changed it for industrial. They only permitted about 300 acre feet, which is not their 2.2 million gallons per day. So if they are seeking to use the 2.2 million gallons per day, they are going to have to come back and request permits. So we have not addressed or had a chance to see that request. We have not evaluated its compliance with the rules. We have no knowledge of what that would actually be. When
Has
they
the
do-
well been changed to industrial at this time?
Yes. The 3 wells have been modified per their amendment request.
Okay.
There was a public hearing.
Okay.
It was duly noticed, and it was Puma Ranches.
Yeah.
Puma Ranch LLC. Yes, ma'am.
So when the AI Center, that's being built directly behind my back fence, when that goes in and they request their permits, will the county be, and I'm not talking put it in the newspaper, oh, there's gonna be a meeting, mail out one of your little information cards or something. Is there a way you can notify us? Because we weren't notified about the other one changing.
So if you request to be on the distribution list for the permits, you will get an email every month with a full amount. All you have to do is call into our office and ask to be
Or
added to the
email
list.
info@Evergreen, WCD.
And you'll receive our permit hearing notices every month.
And then we can share those with them.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna let you kind of call on who you want to, I'm gonna let y'all kind of call on who to talk to, because I
Ma'am,
think.
go ahead.
Okay, I guess to look at the great big picture, because you've got laws you have to follow. At what level is the law that allows transport out of the district or out of the county?
At what level?
Yeah, what law do we need to get changed to not allow water to leave?
The one
That's gonna be at state or?
The one in 36.113 of the water code that says that we cannot discriminate based on type or location of use.
That's chapter 36.
Of what?
Use of the
Water code.
Texas water code.
Water code, is that state? Is that your code?
No, it's
State, thank you, that's what I'm, okay,
Well, you'll
so
hear
we
the
have
word
to get the
chapter
laws.
36 a lot. Chapter 36 is of the Texas Water Code, which is
Okay.
generated by the Texas legislature.
That was put in the
Approved by the
legislature in 1997, and we've had to abide by it. And we've had the proliferation of groundwater districts, and we still have to abide by that
So we've got to
statute.
spend a lot
So
of
we need
money
to be
somewhere to
lobbying.
protect
There's
There's no
ourselves.
other water
That's
tanks
what's
that
going
can do it and deny permit.
Ma'am, you can
Yes.
say this.
Hi, my name is Dr. Sharon Garrett. This is my husband Scott Garrett. For those of us whose property is literally the line where the large solar farm is going to be, has it been established yet? Like if there's going to be, like if it goes through, hopefully it doesn't, if it does, is there like how many feet, acres, will it be, you know, from our fence line to the solar panels? Has that been decided?
That's
That would be water.
And let me, I was completely aside, I was just talking to a government relations consultant on the way here, and the AI stuff has hit the whole, I got all of my districts across the state, from Panhandle down here, East Texas, are dealing with this issue. And it's hit us within the past 2 years, and from the electricity point of view, and which is not our purview, and the water point of view, it's nuts. And so it's going to be a major issue during the legislative session. I have no idea what that means, but groundwater is a major issue because of the East Texas thing that y'all alluded to, and I represented one of the districts up there, and the AI, and I don't know where it's going.
Keep them out of the county.
Now,
Now, obviously,
I think.
how do we keep them out of the county?
There you go. Don't
That's-
sell your water
That's
rights.
not water.
Well, you can always deed restrict your property from ever selling your water, but that's a whole other issue. Ma'am, Kate, I'm gonna come back to you. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about 7208. What if we have questions with that and whether or not Springs Hill has followed that? Does that go to you all or does that go to a lawsuit?
What is it?
7208.
7208, I don't know what that, it's the section that forms Springs Hill under the special utility district.
Okay.
Oh.
And I think they have not followed it.
So there are attorneys here, but I don't know that I don't know that he can.
I think that may be a component on that contested case side. Yes, sir.
Just a couple of clarification questions about processes. There's a DFC in the permitting process that is very important. So first off, how many of the DFCs that created the deficit in the fall we see planned on the aquifer dropping 78 feet? Secondly, were there repercussions or revocations of those permits when it was noticed that, wow, the water level's really starting to sink. And then maybe at what point in time does it become important that the water level is sinking to the people who have not yet exercised their rights? So I want to put in an agricultural well when I retire in a few years. I'd like to run cattle. That's why I moved out here. I want to watch my cows walk around and eat grass. But is there any kind of accounting for the detriment? I mean, am I guaranteed 2 acre feet? When they do the modeling, is every well forecasted at using the 2 acre feet, and then they come up with, okay, yeah, we can, everybody's using their 2 acre feet per acre, you can have 2 million gallons a day. I mean, so is it?
You know, that is a challenge, and the DFC process is something we look at every 5 years. It's a constant process, and the DFC is establishing desired future conditions, which is a requirement of the groundwater districts do, and develop a groundwater management plan. And without getting into all of the processes, because there is a lot of processes that we have to abide by and incorporate into our rules, but the DFC component is something we adjust every 5 years and determine what the desired future condition of the aquifer should be 50 years from now, based upon an annual production model. And it's only as good as the monitoring information you have associated with it. Going back to the I mentioned 1 million acre feet that we have permitted. We only use about 200,000. Our monitor, we only generate actual production from about 20% of that. That's taken into account. So if you want 2 acre feet per acre of land, you apply for a permit, and as long as it is modeled within our county what's happening based upon existing production reporting, then we can sustain that 2 acre feet, because most of the people that get 2 acre feet don't utilize 2 acre feet. They might need it in 1 year out of 5, but that was the whole point of it. So we've got to adjust and monitor and track those desired future conditions from a monitoring standpoint. And that's why the Evergreen District is investing an enormous amount of money. We've just taken on almost $1 million worth of advanced groundwater modeling for the district to improve the Carrizo Aquifer Wilcox models to determine what the impact over time will be with real-time data. We're working with models going back to 2005, 2004, 2004. And we've had to rebuild this entire system because, and it's the state puts these requirements on us, and they're really unfunded mandates, but that's what our taxes are going for, is creating these models, because garbage in, garbage out, we have to know what's there. And so to answer your question, we track that on an annual basis, actually on a monthly basis, what those water levels are doing and how it applies to the DFCs for the entire county, for the entire parts of the different counties. We even have rules related to large-scale pumpage. You know, where the water levels hit a certain point, then we have to suspend those permits.
And those, and
there is a process to
the
that.
bigger permits that are coming in, that we may see, the water marketing permits, so if they hit above those 5,000 acre feet, which they would have to, Civil Valley, whoever that is, Ken Reed, whoever that is, that's coming in, there's already a rule in place that's been there since, I think, '09.
I wrote it.
You wrote it, pre me, that requires, for this many acre feet, for 5,000, there has to be this many monitor wells around the property. If we get a baseline, and if there is 50 feet of drawdown within 3 months, we start suspending the permits automatically, and that's built into those permits.
Yeah, so we actually literally structured something like you're talking about, is developing monitoring well networks on the periphery of these large-scale pumping projects. Because what are we concerned about? If you've got a piece of property and you want to drain all the water off of it, and you can do it within your permit amount, knock yourself out. But you're impacting your neighbor. We get that. That's what our entire rules are based upon, is protecting the neighbor. Well, that's why, no, it's not.
It's not too late.
Wrong. You're wrong. We have monitoring well networks. That's why we install monitoring well networks.
We reached our 30 minutes for our Q&A.
Yeah.
Do what?
Unfortunately, we're at the end of the Q&A.
Be more than happy to sit down and explain it to you with our
I
geologists.
will say that, again, I really appreciate this interest, even though it is not always amicable, but it's important because we are the government, and no one likes having asked the government permission to use their water rights, their water. No one likes having us on their property. No one likes dealing with us, which is why we only have a 25% registration rate. Even though it's required by law, no one does it. And so,
We have less than a 50%
and no one
reporting
wants us to meter their wells. That's a dirty word, to meter their wells. But unless we do all those things and monitoring and metering and have that information, we can't protect you. And so it's kind of this, it's where, no one wants to say we're the government, we're here to protect you, but you're asking us to do something, but so I really, really do appreciate this to understand how we do this. The 2 acre feet per acre is not a guarantee that you have that. It is without a groundwater district, it's pure rule of capture. You basically have no property right. It's the law of the biggest pump. With a groundwater district, we slow it down. We treat everybody equally, that they have a max. In this district currently it's 2 acre feet per acre. In the future, it may have to go down.
We may
In the
very well
future,
drop.
we have the law, if we start hitting the DFCs, we may be curtailing everybody. We're gonna be really unpopular. So, but that's what we're gonna have to do, and that's what we're required by law to do, is start cutting everybody back. And we do have an aquifer that is not like I have Ogallala in Panhandle. It doesn't recharge. This one does. When you cut back, it does come back. And so we will have to play that game, but we need your help in doing that. And it's not a fun job for any of us.
We are in a historic drought, as you all
We
well
are.
know.
That's what we're all
I've lost 60% of my hickory trees on our range. I've
That's what we're all
lost
scared
70% of my post oak savanna.
That's what we're all
If you
scared.
notice, if you're a deer hunter, there are no acorns this year on the blackjacks and post oaks. You know, the live oaks aren't even putting it off. This is the first time in recorded history of my life that I haven't seen acorns. We're definitely concerned about this.
One quick
But
question.
We're monitoring this.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but has Springdale, have
We gotta stop the question and answer.
Q&A is
Sorry.
over. We had 30 minutes and we're
Yeah.
already past
So
that.
we're gonna go over a little bit of the permitting stuff. Did you wanna talk about it?
So you can go over that. I do have a closing.
Okay, perfect. They're gonna stick around afterwards. Let's keep it nice. Let's keep it cordial if you need to talk. I know we are all, the reason why I put this building in my name tonight and got this is because I'm passionate about it too. So we are all in this together, and there's rules to follow on both sides. So we need to make sure that we're following through on our side as well. But if you are looking to, if you wrote the thing and you didn't realize that contesting and protesting were 2 separate things.
That's right.
And you don't want to hire an attorney, and you want to protest, we have a letter that you can send in and change yours from contesting to protesting. We also, if you live, I have a ranch outside of the city limits, but then I also do live in the city limits, so I'm doing one and my husband's doing the other. But we have the city form that you want to support the city on their endeavors are you contesting or protesting? For contesting. So the city is contesting the use of the wells, which means they will be hiring an attorney.
Good for Stockdale.
Yes.
Do you have to live in Stockdale to contest?
No.
Like city limits?
No.
But
So
you-
if you live in the city limits, there's a letter that we have that says that that you're in support of what the city is doing.
Okay.
If you live outside of the city limits, then you can contest with an attorney or protest and let them understand your feelings. We have copies of those letters. I have envelopes and I have their labels, so you can literally stick their thing on it, fill it out, and go from there. But mail it out on your own accord. So we do have all that. There were also, there was a great article about AI written in the Wilson County newspaper this week, and so they did bring some complimentary newspapers if anyone did not get a chance to read that. I'm going to turn it back over to Stephen. We are going to be here, ask those questions. Guys, we are all on the same page. We just need to make sure that our tempers, we can have great dialogue if our tempers stay down.
So I would just like to close with saying, just 3 years ago, Spring Hills mismanaged their home water allocation so badly that they had to give up part of their CCN because they could not meet the commitments they had made. That was a direct result of poor planning and over allocation. Now they're asking for more water, not to meet current needs, but to cover past mistakes and fuel future speculative growth that's already over allocated through other entities. That's not sustainable, and it's not fair to those of us who have carefully managed our resources within the limits of our permits. The aquifer is a shared resource. Any additional pumping should protect the sustainability of the system, and prioritize existing responsible managed users, not reward prior mismanagement.
Awesome.
Thank you. For those of you that don't live in the city, thank your city managers, your city council members, your EDC board members for saying that they are going to contest this. They are going to help us fight this battle on their end here.
Can we
So-
donate to the city to help you?
Unfortunately, no.
Can't we do a GoFundMe for the city?
You could probably do a GoFundMe for yourselves and get everybody to go in on a class action type thing.
Do a GoFundMe and then.
But here's the deal: when the city does something, y'all come out and support them, even if you're not here. The Chamber of Commerce, the EDC, the city, y'all be there for those events because that does help and funnel back into the city. And when you support the outside entities, it does funnel back in there. So if you need help over there with any of that stuff, just get with me. Please keep it cordial, guys. We can keep the conversation going. That's great, but let's keep our tempers down.